Hi and welcome to the first live stream of March. We had a Zoom session on Friday, but this is the first live stream. Almost forgot. Welcome in the chat. It's good to see you and to read what you've been up to. Kelly is doing watercolor. I like that. I like how we can sort of drop these things in the chat and then somebody picks it up and is like, oh yeah, I'm tired. I'm gonna go do some watercolor. That's really great. I also love Milena's work. Like, she has this amazing style and she's such a nice person. That's really great. I joined Paint Your Heart and Soul once, I think, and then it kind of got a little bit too much. Like, you got to make choices at some point. But they always have a very good lineup. So hi Ariana. It's good to hear that you had a spa day. That sounds really good. I had a spa day on my bike for 1.5 hours in the rain. Hi Linda. It's good to have you here. It feels like a really long time ago, and it has not been a long time ago. So that's a bit funky because I talked to you on Friday. And I thought to myself, if I want to work on this during the week, I'll just like record or whatever, like not necessarily reserve that for live streams and Zoom calls, but I just didn't do anything except procrastinate everything in my life. And so here we are, literally where we left off on Friday. You're feeding Gretchen and you're late again. Well, I don't think she's a poor baby. I think she has a great mama. They can be a little bit dramatic about their feeding time. I got a cat that looks at me when I'm like 15 minutes late. She looks at me like, I almost died, mother. Why do you let me suffer? So before the rain came pouring down in the Netherlands, there was a nice blue sky that I took a photo of. And I thought to myself, I want to try and see if I can mix this blue. Y'all know I struggle a little bit with color mixing, and I am definitely won't be like color mixing en plein air anytime soon, so that won't be happening. But we're making an effort. So our theme for this month was touch, is touch. I haven't touched anyone this week. I don't know about you. Touch and it got me thinking, like being in touch, and it also at some point got me thinking, why is this so damn hard? And when I figure it out, I will let you know. I had to be somewhere this morning. I was on my bike and I saw people walking, and we live in an area where if you're walking without like a bag or a dog or like in a hurry, we're not in an area where you can necessarily walk to things. And so the people that are usually walking are walking there because they want to. And I saw someone walking in the rain, all wrapped up. And it just got me thinking, like, why is that a logical thing for you to do? And why is it such a weird thing for me to do? And my impulsive brain is almost capable of then getting off my bike and being like, yo lady, can I ask you a question? Why do you walk? Hi Rosie, welcome, welcome. The blue looks good. Yeah, I think it, you know, from my phone, and it's always a little bit tricky because I'm under artificial light. You know what I think? I think it's a little bit too blue. I know it tones down a little bit on a live stream. I'm gonna look at it tomorrow in like actual daylight. And I was thinking, you know, maybe if it's dry enough. And I think next week the weather's gonna clear up a little bit, and I might take it outside and like hold it up to part of the sky, like not directly because it's gonna mess up with the backlight, but like maybe. So I don't want the blue there. I haven't finished not. I haven't visited any crazy places like cemeteries and such, but here's the thing with biking. You don't have anything better to do than contemplate everything, right? And so I was on my on my bike, and I was like, you know, it's pretty calm, and not a lot of people, like some people, like the lady, go out, but it's obviously a bit quieter outside when it's raining. So I might actually go tomorrow and take like an umbrella or whatever, and I can go see if I can scout a cemetery or some other place while it's raining. I mean, who goes to a cemetery when it's raining? That's just weird. Well, me, but I'm weird. My plan was to cover a whole part here, but I'm being so slow that I gotta pick up the speed a little bit. You love walking in the rain. Ariana sometimes walks in the rain all wrapped up. So you are the people that I run into when I'm on my bike wondering, what are you doing, lady? Interesting. I wanted to cover this and see if maybe it can take some charcoal. I have some medium. I mixed some Gamsol with the solvent-free medium, so that it's not too like oily, but also not too dry. What is that? It's always a hair. It's either a cat hair or a kid hair. That was very long hair. And occasionally it's my hair. How late are you? You are just on time. That is just how I feel. You're never late because I'm slow, so welcome. You got some weird green here. I'm not good with greens. I used to watch videos of, you know, landscape people. They go wild when you talk about green, right? They go like, oh yeah, green. I gotta find a perfect green. No, that green is too green. Love it. I like people who can just crazy hyper focus on this one thing that needs to be absolutely perfect and just go on and on about it. So green is a thing when you're, you know, a nature painter, nature person. That's funny because I live high in a building, so I look out on a tree line and there are all these different trees with their different little greens. So they are right, and they're definitely not using it as an excuse to buy insane amounts of paint and stuff like some people do. You thought you were over an hour late. No. Not at all. Only if you need to be. Yes, that is true. Yeah, they're very serious about the representation. Well, the funny thing is that, you know, I also don't really care if your landscape is accurate. And I also like the landscapes that are just totally different. What I do like, though, is that it kind of taught me how many shades of, you know, how many shades there are. Is it a shade? Yeah, I think it's a shade. Or a tint, or both, probably both. In nature. And, you know, because I'm not really, I wasn't really drawn or anything to landscape painting, so I never really got any further than, you know, tree is green, bark is brown, sky is blue, like elementary type of stuff. But when I watched those videos, I was like, damn, that's a lot of green. It's also funny to, I do it sometimes when I'm on a train ride or anything. I don't like being on my phone because it drives me nuts. When you look outside and you try and, what I try to do at some point is sort of categorize colors that I see, like warm blue or cold green or something like that. Agni doesn't care about realistic. No, I think a lot of people don't really care. I really want to learn to paint landscapes. I have not found a good online course. Isn't the course... Hold on. You're all gonna have to help me here. So she is the Irish lady. The Irish lady, older than me, and she does these landscape interpretation, like a little abstract, with a lot of palette knife stuff. I love her work. Come on, guys, help me out. What's her name? If no one knows who I mean, I will, like, I get her newsletter, so I will come back to that if you want. Let me see, on a train or car, I have sketchbook, pre-drawn grid, limited number of colors, and capture landscape. Oh, that's really cool. That's so fast. I think because my art was criticized more while doing landscapes, I never really perceived. Ooh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that's a shame. Like, yeah, that's a bit of a pity. Like, people need to shut up. It is in Cara school. Yes, the Spanish. No, it's not Holly Beals. No, sorry. Yeah, she does like retreats also. I think in Spain and in Ireland. Why am I so sucky at this? We're getting there. No, it's not Holly. I feel like we're getting there. It's my socialization time. Yes, girl, welcome. It's my socialization time as well. Alright, that was a bit of a weird transition. Sorry if this is tripping the microphone. This is like ASMR on steroids. Ooh, look at that. It's like the scratchy boards. No, don't worry about it, Linda. Holly Beals is great, by the way. Alright, I might do that a little bit more after live stream, because I cannot imagine this being fun to look at. To listen to, sorry. Put my palette away. It is not irritating scratching. Okay, I might do some more scratching. No, it's not, Nicole. Oh man, it's like my brain does a lot of great things, but sometimes it just fails me. Abstract. No. Oh, whoa, there are a lot of Irish artists. Alright, this is not working. She did Let's Face It also, I think, at some point, or maybe it was, Paint Your Heart and Soul, I'm not sure. Can I do that with my right hand? No. No. Right. I want to draw this weird tree and then go down the alphabet. Wait, hold on. There, we can search my email. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got it. Oh, thank the universe. It's Pauline Agnew. Pauline Agnew. Thank you, email, Gmail inbox that allows me to store so many emails, like up until a million years ago. So, Pauline Agnew. Let me catch up for a bit on the chat. I keep missing the Zoom. Ooh. Well, let me know if you need some kind of reminder. I do reminders via email and such. We got a whole chat full of great female painters now, though, because of me not remembering a name. I just came back from France recently and must report that the French made art supplies. Oh, they're not any cheaper there. And so you're comparing it to United States, perhaps? Where do you live? Ah, yes, the United States. You know what, I think it was, what's his name? All right, I'm not in a name mood today, but it was Dylan with his Drawn Together show. where he had, you know, the guy with like 2 million followers on Instagram and does the really great portraits and stuff. We were talking on Zoom about Old Holland, which is a Dutch brand. And he was like, yo, it's super expensive here in the United States. So I was like, yo, what does a tube like Series 1 or 2 cost? And it wasn't that much more than when you convert it back to euros and then compare it to the prices here. So I was like, okay, I guess. And it may be in the conversion or in the exchange rate. And also, like, I don't want to necessarily complain, but stuff has gotten more expensive in Europe. Like, I noticed that because I order, you know, art supplies, have been ordering art supplies in Europe for a long time, and yeah, prices are definitely up. Okay, that's a lot of weirdness going on. What I like is the little, like, stick trees that are all grouped together. Cool. Hold on. Pauline is incredible. Yes. I've never done any of her courses, but they're somehow ended up on my bucket list because I kind of want to do them, but they also intimidate me a little bit. But they look really fun. Like, her landscapes they look fun. Scouting mission for a place to move to. Yes, that was right. Thank you, Kelly, for being my reminder. Electrician dudes coming to my house for essay. Yes, strangers. Strangers are no strangers. Your husband wants to live in Paris for a year before finding out. Okay, that sounds more like an excuse to live in Paris for a year, which is also totally valid. Yeah, we can totally relate. I still get stressed when people deliver my groceries, which it sounds like the most entitled millennial you can imagine, which is what I am. Yeah, it's just imprinted on my brain like that. The painting is amazing, thank you. Well, that estimate is going to give me anxiety as well. Oof, that's a lot of money. Yeah. Calls, oh Lord, can you not email me or text me or whatever before you suddenly invade my phone? Or you know what I hate like the most of everything is people who are like, I will call you between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. I'm like, what? You're gonna like hog 3 hours of my day? Oh no, you can just go ahead and do whatever you're doing, and I'll just call you between a 3-hour time frame. Lady, you don't know me. I'm not gonna do whatever when I know you might be calling. But you can't really say that, because they're gonna think you're crazy. Yeah, that's why I love my friends, and also you, but most of you don't come round. But my friends are like, yeah, sure, we'll call you, we'll text you 2 weeks in advance to let you know when we'll be calling to set a date for when we'll come round. I'm like, you understand me, thank you. And they're not weird about it either, right? That's also great. And much appreciated. I love how I was like, oh guys, the theme for this month is touch, because we need to get a little bit more in touch with reality and not be so weird all the time and drift off into dream-like fantasy states and float around mentally to ignore the world. And here we are painting weird Niz. You chat with AI, that's really interesting. I heard that helps a lot of people, actually. My husband said living in Paris would be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Yes. Yeah, that definitely. I mean, if you can make it so, then make it so. I could live in Paris, but yes. Art group in Paris for a year, that would be... Yeah, that would be... But yeah, you know, if you can make it happen, because just make it happen. And then tell us all about it. Because I kind of like that, you know, experiencing things through others, because I'm not much of a traveler myself, but I do like stories and photos. Like my sister travels a lot. She has a baby now, so a little bit less, but when she travels, she sends me photos every day, and it feels a little bit like I'm on vacation, but still able to sleep in my own bed with my own pillow, my own things. It's a lot of red. My idea was to cool the whole thing down, going to the right, but my ideas are usually just things that end up not being. Let me get a little bit of purple here. Hey, Sean. That's also a thing. When I know people are coming, I don't want to go to the toilet in case, you know, they show up at my door. So sometimes I have to go to the toilet, and I can't go to the toilet for like 3 hours because you told me you were gonna be there in a 3-hour time frame. Ooh, maybe we can make like this. I saw that on when I went to take these photos. You know, you have these trees where they're a little bit uprooted, and then there's this hole in between the ground and the roots. And I had a book at my grandma's that said that like tiny people, what do you call them? We call them in Dutch, we call them kabouters. Kabouters. So like the fairy people, but not with the pointy red hats. Sorry, that they live there, and obviously it was a fantasy book, but he was being really serious about it. And then you start thinking, what if? So now every time I see a tree like that with a hole in it, I'm like, hello? Poor guy meets a giant dog. Yes, between 8 and 5 my whole... Yes, exactly that. People need to understand that. Yeah, like gnomes. Yeah, gnomes, I think. I have a very serious book about gnomes. Yes, Rien is the book. Yeah, Portfleet. Yeah, I think Ariana, I think I mentioned it like last year or something during a live stream. I have pretty much all his books from the thrift store. I got the original book from my grandmother, the one with the gnomes, right? That I kind of grew up with that book, and then I moved here, and there are a lot of thrift stores here with a lot of good books, and I found out that he made a lot of books with a lot of art in it, so I got a lot of that. Let me see. Sometimes I look at my screen, I'm like, okay, I can make this work, and then I look at my work and I'm too close actually to my work. I don't like this. I got decision paralysis. I might just leave it and then think about it for a little bit. For me, one of the things that I maybe want to read a little bit more about is like composition, but also hierarchy. You know what I mean? Hierarchy in terms of value, and also in terms, and then when you usually when you learn that, after that you learn the hierarchy of color. And yeah, when I taught myself this, I just totally skipped that. I was like, no, sorry, that's boring. And I usually do that until like now I'm thinking, okay, maybe that would be beneficial. And then I'm sort of motivated to go ahead and learn that. I have a book, and which is the theme of this live stream, cannot remember his name, but I do have it somewhere. I have the ebook somewhere on my computer, and it focuses on, he works in ink, and it focuses on value hierarchy, and he does these illustrations where he does the same illustration of the same scene, and he does it in a different value hierarchy, right? So he makes some things darker and some things lighter, and then he does that 2 or 3 times, and it visually shows you the effect of the choices you make. I'm gonna try and look that up. I do like my weird charcoal trees. Let's see. No, yeah, rent away. We like rants. Yes, the ring gnomes. Wow, this is a tongue twister. I remember he has this one illustration of a female gnome who is naked at the top, because he was showing their anatomy. That's how serious he was about that. And my brother and I were like, damn. It was great. I think the light behind the part you don't like is very intriguing. Yeah, I kind of like when I look at the screen, I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it and then think about it a little bit instead of dumping all my frustration on it. Who else is cool in that realm? Brian Froud. And the woman who did the Bestiary for the Dark... Ooh, now we have some potential lists coming up. Yeah. I think fantasy art in, whatever realm or style is such an underestimated... Like, it's appreciated by the fans. But I also know that Portfleet, who is honestly one of the greatest watercolor artists of his time. Like, this guy was good. But because his work was classified as being illustrative, it was somehow downgraded. And I just don't get why people think like that. I just don't get it. Like, oh, it's an illustration. So, okay, so if somebody had decided that it was William Turner, it wouldn't have been an illustration. It would have been fine art. It's just weird. That was my rant. I think the solution here is we just need more trees. Yeah, I'm a bit of a fangirl for the fantasy art genre. I played Magic: The Gathering solely for the card art. I was like, there were all these guys. There were no girls back then in that group, and they were like, "It's your turn." I'm like, "Whoa! Look at this card! Look at this card, guys! Look! Yeah, it's your turn." D&D as well. Like, give me a monster manual or a player's handbook. My son loves it too, so that gave me permission to buy them all. You have to leave your magic cards. Oh no, but they're so tiny. Like, they don't take up a lot of space. Yeah, we do have a lot of... I decided to write Dr. Seuss. Yes, good, good, good. Yeah, cool stuff. What time is it? Oh, it is almost 9 o'clock. The world needs more of the sense of wonder that fantasy brings, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and also, you know, before, yeah, I don't know before, but like at the start of the internet, I was born in 1983. So I was around, I think I was about 14, 15 when we had a library computer with internet access and news groups and stuff. So the first community that I came in contact with was the Star Trek community. And before that, the only one who liked Star Trek was kind of like my mom, I guess, but not... like my mom also had other things to do, like the dishes and stuff, you know what I mean? And I was like, no, let's obsess about this for 3 days straight. And so the Star Trek community then, that was really amazing to me. There were discussions being held there about topics that did not become mainstream until a lot later, right? There were discussions about accepting gay relationships, and especially accepting gay relationships between two men and whatnot. And yeah, I found it really powerful. And also, the way that women were treated. And I remember back then there was already starting, a little bit of gossip about how the women on the cast of The Next Generation were treated, And then every time somebody sort of went out of line and went like, oh yeah, blah, 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 people were always like, that's not in the spirit of Gene Roddenberry. That was sort of the thing you got slapped with back into the fold. That was great. I'm not doing anything useful anymore, so just gonna put a little bit here and there. Maybe do a little bit of charcoal. I don't know where my pencils are. No. Voilà.
Wij zitten op mijn kamer, maar ik denk dat we zo nog even wat eten pakken, oké?
Ja, ik ben zo klaar.
Als je ons zoekt, dan zit het wel op mijn kamer. Maar als je honger hebt, mag je ook wel gewoon wat pakken.
Ja.
Oké.
Bye. Bye. That was my kid. I kind of like how this works on wet paint. I thought I would try and see how it works on wet paint. And the funny thing is, this is compressed charcoal, and so it's very black. You can see it. Can you see it? Wait, here. You can see it's very black, but now it's mixing a little bit with the lighter paint that I put on. And that kind of looks like fine, I suppose. Like fine charcoal. Kind of like this interaction. What I like the most is that I just at some point did this, I think last month, and I'd be so damn worried about everything. God, it's really a talent to make everything so very difficult on yourself that I like this. I like You know, what bothers me sometimes with paint is that it's a certain sort of energy because it's soft, right? And I notice that sometimes when I work with soft material like paint, and I have some, like internal energy that needs to be unleashed, paint is not enough. And I like the sort of the pressure aggression that charcoal allows you to do. Pressure aggression. My easel is like, lady, I was not built for this. Okay, cool. Great. Let me catch up. You know, one thing about fantasy art, when we talk about value hierarchy and composition and stuff, I think that fantasy art is probably one of the greatest things that you can study in terms of light-dark contrast and the way that elements are pushed forward or backwards only by either value or chroma. I mean, fantasy art is literally a masterclass in that, so. 2 birds, 1 stone. Cool. Yes, not in the spirit of Gene Roddenberry is kind of like my semi-religious end argument to everything. You get the sound and the yes, yeah. Yeah, it's really funny how that. Like, you can study a million techniques and whatnot, but that tactile feedback and response, something that sort of vibrates, it's got to work for you, and that's the whole point, right, of art. And if, you know, copying the masters and their old techniques works for you, then that's also fine. It does not work for me. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Italy has purchased Caravaggio for 30 million. The reason that popped up in my head is because I can imagine, like, I used to be Caravaggio in like a previous life and did not have the freedom to express my anger on the canvas, and then ended up murdering someone in a bar. What the hell, guy? But his painting sold. The Italian government bought it for, I think the government, or they're putting it in a museum, 30 million. Yeah. So that was the latest from the European mainland. I don't know when the next Zoom call is. Not this Friday, but the Friday after. That's it. Not this Friday, but the Friday after. That would be like the 20th. If you want updates on the Zoom calls and the live stream, join my Instagram channel, because I always put the link there, and it makes your phone go beep. I also put a newsletter out, but I sometimes forget that, or I don't have time for that. All right. I heard that France is trying to get pieces back from Louvre, Dubai, to safeguard the art. Oh, yeah, that would be smart. Oh, my mom and I were gonna go to an exhibition this month. We almost booked a hotel, and she is an Indian artist, and she is called Amrita Shergill. She is amazing. They worked on this exhibition for 6 years to get 60 of her paintings to the Netherlands, and I was like, yo, we're gonna go. We're gonna go there and like book an Airbnb and then go twice. And they got canceled because of... So yeah, art, civilians, and architecture are the first to suffer when assholes start throwing bombs. Dubai doesn't want you though. No, yeah. Yeah. The thing with this is not about the preservation of art. This is about the preservation of wealth. And therein lies the issue. We would like the artworks to be preserved, but most people just want the monetary value to be preserved. So good luck, friends. Let's end on a positive note, which is that I love you all. I had a great time. Thank you all for keeping the chat engaged with stories and rants and great suggestions for even more artists. And I will see you in the Zoom call 1.5 weeks from now, and I will try to be a little bit more active on social media. So thank you everyone for joining me. I hope you have a great day wherever you are, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye bye. Mwah.